Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today, the Liquid Power Specialty Products Inc. 401k and Profit Sharing Plan just filed its annual report, and I am seeing how different investments are performing. Quick note, this is not financial advice, just my take on public filings for educational purposes. This filing gives us a peek into the actual investments held by plan participants, and it highlights some of the big names in the fund world that employees have chosen. Alright, let's dive into this 11K filing. This is basically an annual report for employee benefit plans. Think of it as a snapshot of what is inside the retirement plan for Liquid Power Specialty Products Inc. employees. It helps us understand how their retirement savings are being invested. The company itself is part of Berkshire Hathaway Incorporated, which is a huge name in the investment world. So we're looking at a company with a pretty solid backing. Now the core of this filing for us is checking out the financial statements. This tells us the health and performance of the plan's assets. We see the plan's net assets available for benefits. For the 31st of December 2025, the total assets stand at a little over $107 million. That is a nice jump from around $89 million at the end of 2024. A good increase, which suggests the investments are growing. Looking at the details, the biggest chunk of these assets is in investments. As of the 31st of December 2025, investments are valued at over $102 million. This shows that the vast majority of the plan's value is tied up in the market, which is pretty standard for retirement plans. The other assets are things like company contributions that are due but not yet paid, and also loans that participants might have taken out from their own accounts. Now let's look at how the plan's value changed over the year 2025. We see additions and deductions. On the additions side, we have investment income, which is broken down into dividends and net appreciation in the fair value of investments. That total investment income for 2025 was almost $13.7 million. That means the investments made money for the participants. On top of that, we have contributions from both employees and the company, and rollovers from other plans, adding another impressive $12.4 million. So, the total additions to the plan in 2025 were over $26.2 million. That is a healthy inflow of money. On the deduction side, we have benefit and withdrawal payments and administrative expenses. These totaled a little over $7.8 million. When you subtract the deductions from the additions, the net increase in the plan's assets for the year was over $18.3 million. This explains that big jump we saw in the total net assets from 2024 to 2025. It is great to see the plan growing by such a significant amount. Let's dig a bit deeper into the notes to the financial statements. This is where we learn about the plan specifics. It is a defined contribution plan, meaning the employee's retirement benefits depend on how much is contributed and how well the investments perform. Pretty standard for most 401s. It also mentions that participants are automatically enrolled at a 3% deferral rate, increasing by 1% annually up to 6%. This is a helpful auto-enrollment feature designed to encourage saving, and the annual increase pushes people to save more over time without them having to actively choose a higher rate each year. They can also make voluntary tax or Roth 401 contributions. The company also contributes a safe harbor matching contribution of 100% of elective salary deferrals up to the first 6% of compensation. This is a big deal. It basically means if an employee contributes 6% of their salary, the company matches that with another 6%. This is a really strong incentive for employees to contribute to their retirement. The company may also make a discretionary profit sharing contribution, and in 2025, that was over $3 million. This is where it gets interesting. All employee and company contributions are participant directed among 23 investment funds, and very notably, Berkshire Hathaway Class B common stock. This means employees get to choose where their money goes, and a big player like Berkshire Hathaway is an option. Now let's look at how these investments are valued. This section details the fair value hierarchy, which is a way to measure investments based on how easily their value can be determined. Level 1 investments are things with readily available market prices, like stocks traded on major exchanges. Level 2 are things that might be similar but not identical, or have inputs that are observable but not directly quoted. Level 3 are things with unobservable inputs, meaning their value is harder to pinpoint. For the 31st of December 2025, we see that over $100 million of the plan's investments are in Level 1. This includes mutual funds and common stock, which aligns with what we saw earlier. The mutual funds alone are valued at over $90 million, and Berkshire Hathaway stock is valued at over $10 million. This tells us most of the plan's assets are in investments with clear, observable market values. There is also about $2 million in Level 2 investments, specifically a collective investment trust. This is the Invesco Stable Value Trust. The note explains it has guaranteed investment contracts designed to provide principal stability and competitive yields. This is often used as a more conservative option within a retirement plan. The note about common stock highlights that Berkshire Hathaway stock trades on an active market. This is key for its valuation. It is good to see that even though it is an individual stock, it is treated as a level 1 asset because it is actively traded. This next part is the coolest. It is a detailed list of the actual investments held by the plan at the end of 2025. This is where you see the specific funds that participants have chosen. We're looking at a lot of major fund providers here. We see investments in things like the DFA Emerging Markets Core Equity Portfolio, Vanguard Selected Value Fund, Hartford Small Cap Growth Fund, and Dodge & Cox Stock Fund. These are all well-known investment managers. There are also many Putnam Retirement Advantage target date funds. These are popular because they automatically adjust the investment mix to become more conservative as participants get closer to retirement. Seeing a variety of these target date funds of different years is a common and good sign of diversification within the plan's options. And then we come to the Berkshire Hathaway investments. Notice that Berkshire Hathaway Stock Class B is listed here, valued at over $10 million. There is also a Berkshire Hathaway stock purchase account, which is listed as cash. This implies that participants who invest in Berkshire Hathaway stock are also holding some cash within that specific investment option, likely for smoother trading or dividend reinvestment. We also see a significant holding in the Fidelity 500 Index Fund, valued at over $20 million. This is a very popular fund that tracks the performance of the 500 largest US companies. It is great to see such a large allocation to a broad market index fund, as it generally offers good diversification and lower fees. There are also substantial investments in various Fidelity funds, like the Fidelity Blue Chip Growth K6 Fund, valued at over $11 million, and the Fidelity Diversified International K6 Fund for international exposure. The Invesco Stable Value Trust, which we saw in the fair value section, is also listed here with a value of close to $2 million. And finally, the participant loans section reiterates the information about loans taken by participants directly from their accounts. These are measured at their unpaid principal balance plus any accrued interest. So, looking at this filing, what is the story? First off, the plan is growing well with its net assets up significantly from the previous year. This is likely due to a combination of strong investment performance and robust contributions from both the company and its employees. The company's safe harbor match is a major plus, effectively doubling employee contributions up to a certain level and encouraging substantial participation. The investment options are diverse, ranging from broad market index funds like the Fidelity 500 Index Fund to actively managed funds covering various asset classes and geographies, including emerging markets and international stocks. The inclusion of Berkshire Hathaway Class B stock as an option is a testament to its significance as a holding and the company's affiliation. A key takeaway is the significant presence of target date funds like the Putnam Retirement Advantage series. This shows that many participants are opting for a hands-off approach, relying on professional management to adjust their portfolio risk as retirement nears. For those who prefer to be more hands-on, there is a good selection of individual funds to choose from. The fact that most of the plan's assets are in level 1 investments, meaning they have readily available market prices, indicates a portfolio primarily composed of liquid and transparent assets. This is generally good for plan participants as it provides clear valuation and easier trading. The risks mentioned are fairly standard for any investment plan, revolving around market volatility and interest rate changes. However, the diversification across many different funds and the inclusion of a stable value fund likely help mitigate some of these risks. What I am really watching is the ongoing investment choices here, seeing large allocations to broad index funds and well-regarded active managers. Alongside the Berkshire Hathaway option suggests participants are making relatively informed decisions, or at least choosing options that have historically performed well. The growth in assets is a positive sign that the plan is effectively serving its participants' long-term financial goals. Oh, and the research tools I actually use are linked in the description. They help keep this channel going, that is my take. Stay decoded if this analysis was valuable. Hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description.